What do salespeople really want? On this episode, we explore this idea. Not necessarily a strategy episode, but some really insightful things that can help you not only motivate your sellers, but to motivate and inspire you as a seller. And to answer this question, which I'm sure is on your mind. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm excited to be here with you today. On this episode today, we're going to be talking to my good friend, Travis Ashby. And Travis actually has exited 3 organizations, worked for many different companies that have truly thrived and been successful. And one of the things that he's come across and stumbled upon, not only in working with sales teams and organizations, but also just in conversations, trying to figure out what's meaningful for him. What is it that we really want as sellers? Now, for many of us, we're probably going to say money at the top, and we're going to throw it off and say that's not really what it is. And it's not even sometimes what you can buy with the money. The conversation that we have is really, really engaging. I'm going to let you dive in and check it out. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, go ahead and subscribe. If you have listened to the show already, take this link and share it with somebody else so they can find benefit from it. Our show is designed to help you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline with quality opportunities, and 2, help you to increase your close rate. Today, we're going to get you on the mindset that can help you to do both of those. Let's dive in, get a chance to meet Travis, and see how this can best help us thrive and succeed. Travis, welcome to the show.
What's up, Donald? How's it going?
Oh my goodness, man. I am really excited for this. I think as a sales rep, as a sales leader, sometimes I can tell you, like, I want to give good things to my team members, and I just don't feel they don't even know what they want. And at times I thought I only wanted money, but it turns out I wanted more than that. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion today. And you're definitely qualified to talk about this with your experience and the things that you all do. I bragged about you a little bit in a teaser, but take a second and get on a pedestal and tell us a little bit more about Travis and what you're doing right now.
Yeah. So I've been in sales since the year 2000, back when we had yellow pages, right? So the phone book days, I don't know if you remember those, but that was my jam back in the day. And then just kind of progressed in kind of a sales career until I had an opportunity to become a founder in 2007, which is a fun story. And then worked on a business for about 8 years, sold that business in 2015. Worked on some other ones in between, and then was really just wanting to chase my passion. Like I really wanted to. I think I read Start with Why by Simon Sinek back when it came out, and I was like, man, what's my why? I don't even know. And so I ended up really struggling with that for like 2 years. It took me a couple of years to figure it out, what that was. And then I had the idea for what I'm doing now in 2017. And I charted out kind of a 4-year path to be able to launch this properly, and finally did 3 years ago. And then here we are today doing it. So anyway, that's just kind of a little bit of the journey there.
It's a beautiful journey. It sounds fascinating. And I'm sure we're going to get a chance to hear a little more with that as we go throughout this conversation. And with that today, Travis, I am very curious. We had this discussion before. What do salespeople really want? I can naturally, everyone on this call listening to this episode, they're saying that, it's money. We want money because money, we can do stuff, and sales is we get a chance to earn pretty decent money. Yes, surface level. There's something deeper. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think that the world has changed, right? We got COVID, we had the Great Resignation, we've got mass layoffs now. There's a whole bunch of different things going on. And I just feel like now more than ever, people want more than just a paycheck. And I think with sales, sales is tough because it's always been pretty coin operated, and it hasn't really changed much in a lot of years. It's still gift cards and swag and stuff and cash. And I feel like, sales has always been pretty transactional, and where I was passionate about is, how do we help people really kind of figure out what's going to move the needle on happiness in their life and what really matters, and there's a few sales leaders out there that we all know that, Ian Cognac and some others that are like, look, I chased after the car and this and that, whatever. And I almost lost everything that mattered to me. And so, there's some people out there that are really, kind of focusing on helping reps dig down deep into what it is they actually want. And when you ask reps, like you said, a lot of times it's true. You ask them, what do you want? They're, just pay me cash, whatever. But if all you do is if your reps are just coin operated, the next company that comes around the corner offers them more money, they're going to leave. So how are you intrinsically motivating your people? And what I try to do is help leaders not have to guess. I'm like, look, I'm going to help figure out what exactly it is that they're wanting to accomplish at work and life. And then let's find a way to like take what they care about and then see what the company cares about. What are the company objectives? What are their goals? And how do we make alignment between those things? And so that's kind of where a lot of my passion lies is that.
So how do we go about doing that? Or let's go. What is it that salespeople want? Like that's the $2 million question today. What is it that they want?
Yeah. When I ask someone that question, or when a manager asks reps that question, I'd say 70% of the time the reps have no idea. They're like, I don't know. And so they need help figuring that out. And I had an experience with a friend of mine that kind of helped me on the path that I'm on now, almost like kind of dug into my brain and helped me kind of realize my why and what I cared about. And it took some help and, some inspiration to be able to pull that out of me. And that's what we're trying to do for other people. It's like we're creating something we're calling the inspiration engine. It's a kind of an AI tool. It's a different thing, but we're trying to help people, trying to help facilitate inspiration for people so that they can drill in on their personal happiness equation. Because, what made you happy 5 years ago might be totally different than what makes you happy today, right? And so it's a moving target, and you got to be able to figure out what that looks like, and then be able to, make actionable progress towards those things, whatever those are. And so those are some of the things that we're trying to arm managers with is tools to help them kind of facilitate helping people surface those, I call it your tapestry. So think of like at the end of your life, you're sitting here and then on your wall back here, there's this tapestry with images of things that brought you the most happiness in your life. The obstacles you overcame, the trips you went on, the memories you created. Like, what are those images on that tapestry? What are those things? What's on there currently? What needs to be on there before it's all said and done? We try to help people kind of visualize and create that tapestry for their life, and then put goals on there. And then our whole thing is like, once you've kind of like surfaced what people's goals are, what really is going to bring happiness in their life, why don't we just like have companies help them get further faster towards those things, instead of gift cards and gadgety type stuff, or even cash that just disappears in your paycheck and, it just disappears and you don't really know where it went, so.
When you talk to sales reps who do know what they want, what are some of the things, that 30% who did figure it out? What are some of the things that they're sharing that they want?
Even with them, sometimes it's like they'll put some surface level goal on there. They'll have like Hawaii. And I'm like, well, why do you want to go to Hawaii? And they're like, I don't know. It just seems like a fun place to go. And there's a lot of times it's just like surface level goals even. And so like when you dig in deeper, you find out that they don't know anyway. They don't know either. And so like, for example, I had one rep who would put a goal like that. And once I dug in, like I started kind of like finding out that there were some other things that he was really excited about that he hadn't really thought about. Like, for example, he's like, gosh, what would make me really happy is to buy my wife a horse. She's always wanted a horse, just this random thing, right? Like, okay, tell me more about that. I got to understand this horse thing. Anyway, long story short, she's always wanted a horse. He's like, I want to surprise her with a horse, but I don't know how to do that. She does a lot of her finances. There's no way I'd be able to surprise her with this. And so, we like came up with this plan. I'm like, well, hey, look, like with what we do, we give you this work-life balance. It's a separate account. She doesn't even know about it. Like there's a way to like help you work towards this. And then when he surfaced his goals, there was visibility to everybody else in the org on his goal. And there are a few people out of the woodwork were like, I know all about horses. Like I can totally help you. And now this guy's got this opportunity to like save up and like surprise his wife with his horse. And he's so excited about it. And that's nothing you're going to find in a catalog. It's no spiff that anyone's going to offer you. It's just this random thing. And for other reps, it's been really fascinating. When I was a sales rep, I would come home with like this stack of like Amex gift cards or something or I'd get cash, bonuses or whatever. And my wife would be like all over it, right? Like we need this for carpet or we need this for whatever. And it was such a letdown. I was just like, well, damn, like I was really excited to go like, whatever. And so let's, if my passion was to go on this golf trip with my buddies, well, there's no way.
I was just going to say that, bro. I was just going to say golf.
Right? Like this Ireland golf trip with my buddies, there's no way that my wife's going to be okay with me taking money out of our personal account, and be able to book this trip. But what if I came home and said, hey, honey, guess what? If I hit these goals, company's sending me to Ireland with my buddies. She's like, awesome. That's amazing. Like, I'll make it happen. And so it's kind of like being able to like, have this, this a separate account to like for your passions and different things that maybe you wouldn't normally spend money on that you're really excited about. So a lot of different kind of avenues we've seen people go with this.
Is there some accountability in place with that too? Because it sounds like when you mentioned this idea of you're having um, company members or maybe leaders knowing and seeing what you're trying to work towards, does it help with the accountability side, or is that more of helping them? They know how to help you to align with what the company's trying to do as well. Because you mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think whenever you have a goal that's visible, that you've
Gotcha.
written down, that you've put on a vision board, that everybody else can see, and you're saying, I want to run a triathlon, I've been out of shape, this is something that I want to do, I'm going to make this happen. People that around you that see that goal and know that goal, like if you decide not to do that and you just, have this separate account, like we call it your work-life balance, right? It's the actual savings account. But, if you end up using that for carpet or what, like people will hold you the carpet for that and be like, dude, what the hell? Like, what's going on with your goal? And so like just the fact that you have it visible and that everyone can see it and is like actively, rooting you on and wanting to cheer for you and make that happen, like the chances of that happening go way, way up, right? So we don't so for the accountability piece, it's just a matter of everybody that is seeing this awesome goal. Like we work with a couple of sales communities, like Women in Sales Group and a few others. And we're giving everybody free work-life accounts now because we're like, gosh, let's find out what everybody's trying to do. And so then when you see someone's goal, everybody's rallying behind you. I'm like, I've ran like 5 triathlons. I can totally help you. Like, this is the training thing that I use. And now you've got you're on your way to making it happen.
That's pretty dope.
Kind of fun.
Go back to this idea of why it's such a large percentage though. I imagine this beyond salespeople as well. But 70% of the people that you talk to don't really know. And then some of the ones who do know don't really quite, it's a surface level answer. Why is that the case though?
I have
Why
no
do
idea.
people not?
I struggled with this too, right? Like I had a digital marketing agency. I ran for 8 years. And then one day I just woke up and I'm like, I would never give a TED talk on this stuff. Like I would never I have no interest in any of this stuff. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I realized that I just didn't have any direction. I was making money and I had a great life. On paper, everything looked great. I had 3 kids. I've been married since the year 2000 and had a successful business, but something was missing for me. And, I think that a lot of people run into that. Like maybe nobody's ever asked them before, right? These things. And that's one of the things that I tell sales leaders, like, have you ever asked anybody? Have you ever tried in your one-on-ones to dig deep and find out what their happiness equation looks like and what they're trying to accomplish? And a lot of managers just are horrible at that. They're just not very good at that. So I want to empower them to be better at being like, dude, what do you want? Like, what do you really want in work? What do you really want in life? What are you trying to accomplish? And dig down. And then, if leaders ask that and they don't have any way to actually help you work towards those things, then it's disingenuous and that's not good either. And so one of the things we're trying to do is be able to arm managers with the ability to really find out what people are working towards and then be able to make sure that all the programs in the company are geared towards helping people get further towards those goals. And so an example would be sales incentives, if it's the end of Q4 and it's like, gosh, it's really important to the company to hit this revenue goal. Like, here's our goal as a company, it's going to probably be nights and weekends, but we really need your help, well, how much better would it be if you were to look in there and be like, gosh, this person has this New Zealand goal. Like they've never met their in-laws in New Zealand, they're $5,000 away from hitting that goal. And they've got this goal. Well, that manager could go to the CEO and come back and be like, look, we know that you're the rep that can help us hit this number. If you help us, it's going to be nights, it's going to be weekends, but check this out. New Zealand's done. Like, we're taking care of it. It's paid for. And so now when that rep goes home at night, your spouse isn't beating you up because you're gone nights and weekends because she knows you're going to make it up and then some because the New Zealand trip's happening. So my whole thing is just there's got to be a win-win scenario where when the company's goals are hit, the reps win too, and everybody's excited about it. And so, and it's not about the money. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'll put it this way. I talk about something I call sacred money, and we can get into that. But, I don't think money can buy happiness, but I think sacred money can. And sacred money is money that's, intentionally set aside for things that will actually drive happiness in your life. And there's a story behind that, but.
I want that story now. Shoot, you can't open a Pandora box without telling me that story.
Yeah. So the story is crazy. I told you how I sold the company in 2015. I went on a journey to figure out my why. I was frustrated after 2 years. Was
this a physical journey or this metaphoric journey?
Metaphoric journey. I had sold the business, bought myself some time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life and what I wanted to be when I grew up, and just couldn't figure it out. I was blowing through savings. My wife's like, dude, you got to go get a job. You're blowing through all of our savings. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I can't just start some random business. Like I need to start something that I think will make a difference in the world. That'll, that is meaningful to me personally.
Mm.
And then one day it all unlocked for me. And it happened after I took a trip that I'd wanted to do for 27 years. And the story behind it was when I was 12 years old, my parents had just got divorced. My mom met this pilot guy and left my dad. And I was super upset. I was really close with her. And then she left my dad for this guy and I was treating her horribly. And then she was in a singing competition in Denver that she had to fly to on my birthday, and her plane crashed in the mountains of Colorado.
Oh my goodness.
6 people in a little Cessna plane over by Aspen. And I remember getting that call after she passed away, and there was a couple pieces to this story, but one of the things that was really hard was just, gosh, I treated her so badly when she died. And so I remembered that after she died, she gave me a wallet for my birthday. And I had a thought to take this wallet out, and I pulled this wallet out and there was a picture inside of it. And, when I was looking at this picture, I looked on the back and there was writing, and all the writing on the back of it said was, "Remember the good times." And it was just signed Kathy. And my mom's like beautiful cursive signature. And, when I read those words, it was just like this feeling of like, everything's, you're okay, you can be happy. And so one of the things I've always been passionate about is happiness. Like no matter what happens to you in your life, you have a choice to be happy with, to find happiness still, or to feel sorry for yourself or get caught in some, bad things, addictions, whatever. And so that was kind of an early lesson that my mom taught me after she passed away that was really powerful. But there was another wallet. The other wallet was her wallet that was returned to me after she died. So right after she died, her wallet was returned to me, and inside of her wallet was her driver's license and about $200. And I considered it sacred money, and I'd never had plans to spend that money. As a 12-year-old, it was a lot of money, right? So I put it in a picture frame, and I've always had it my whole life. And then when I was looking kind of for, what I wanted to do, I was at lunch one day with a founder friend of mine, and I was just venting with this guy, and it was my birthday. He was taking me lunch for my birthday. And I remember just like, oh yeah, my birthday, this kind of happened, and I was vulnerable and kind of just shared this story about my mom. And he was asking me questions like, well, how do you get inspiration? What are times in your life when you've been the most inspired? What brought that on? And so that's why I shared that kind of inspirational story that I just shared with you. And then I also shared with him right after she died, I had this dream about her. I remember like this very vivid dream. I kept a journal at the time, so I have it all written down. But I like climbed over this boulder, the top of this mountain, and I remember seeing this plane fuselage spread across the top of this mountain meadow. And I saw my mom there, and I ended up talking with her on this mountainside, and it seemed like we talked for 12 hours, right? And it overlooked this lake and all this stuff. And I remember waking up from that dream and running into my dad's room and said, Dad, I just talked with Mom, and it felt so real, and I felt so happy inside. But I was telling this guy about this experience, and in passing, I had just told him, gosh, I've always wanted to go to that place where her plane crashed. I feel like I would know it if I saw it.
Yeah.
And he stopped me and was like, why haven't you done that yet? You're looking for inspiration, like plan that trip. Call your sisters before you leave lunch today and plan that trip, or you're never going to do. I'm not going to let you leave until you've done that. And so he held me accountable. I called my sisters up, and we planned this trip in August. And it was a wild story on how like I had to track down the first responder who like told me about how when he was on site, like an avalanche broke, he had to get into the plane fuselage to survive this avalanche. It's just a wild story. And anyways, the guy was so nice, and he's like, I know exactly where it happened. I can totally help you. He sent me the topographic map. He sent me the location. We planned this trip. And the day before we were going to leave, I remembered that money from my mom's wallet.
Yeah.
And I suddenly just had this like idea, and it was like this pure inspiration, right? And I told my sisters, did you guys know I've had money from Mom's wallet all these years? Why don't we have her pay for our dinner tonight? Let's have Mom pay for our river rafting experience. And dude, so I did one of the hardest things I've ever done, Donald. I took this money out of this picture frame and I spent it. I remember giving it to this 16-year-old girl behind the counter at this river rafting thing or whatever. And just like, she's looking at it, it's like this super old money. And for 2 days I was in flow thinking about this idea of sacred money. Thinking, if you had sacred money, what would you do with it? And those are the questions I ask sales reps. So if you had sacred money, what would you do with it? And I won't put up with this, any bullshit like, goals that are like, that don't matter. Like, I want to know like what matters to you in your life. What do you care about? Is it the trip that you've always wanted to take? What's the thing that's preventing you from doing your best work and living your best life? Are you dealing with addiction? Are you dealing with self-doubt? I've got this framework, Donald, that I call feel. and it's feel
Yeah.
happier, and it's freedom, experiences, energy, and love. And my whole thing is like, how do you get more freedom as a principle of happiness? How do you get freedom from addiction, freedom from debt, freedom from doubt, freedom from ignorance? All these things. How do you get more energy? If you have more energy in your life, you're going to be happier. If you have more physical, spiritual, mental energy, you're going to be happier. Memories, like the number one study on happiness, there's an ongoing study. It's like over 70 years long. It's still going. Said, how do people live longer, happier lives? And it all came down to relationships, meaningful relationships with people you care about. If you have meaningful relationships, you're going to be a happier person. And so those are the things that like the kind of like I'm passionate about. So what I want to do is like kind of help. And then the last one's love. So it's just like, you got to care about other people. Like you just got to like stop thinking about yourself so damn much and like help other people out. You're going to be happier. And so everything kind of comes back, I found, for me personally, to one of those four things.
I saw in the messages, first off, like, thank you for sharing that sacred experience there with us, man. Like, that was the cost of admission today. Like, if you listen to this episode, I think people got touched and inspired by that.
Appreciate that.
So appreciate you sharing it. Thanks, man. And the second component is when you mentioned the idea of love, talking back to the dude with the horse, talking about your story, talking about all these other experiences. Yeah, it'd be cool to go play golf in Ireland, but you weren't talking about going playing golf in Ireland by yourself. It was with you and your buddies.
Yeah.
So I think there's some element to this idea of looking outside yourself, like you're hitting on, and there's other people that we can help out. I don't know, it's super powerful. So I adore that, and I love this, man. I think you got me pumped up to go. Let's go, man.
Yeah. So dude, that led to building software, like vision board software. Yeah. So it's like, you're not going to accomplish a goal you don't have, stated and kind of visualized. And so what I want to do is make sure everybody can see it. If you have a public goal, I want everyone to see it, help you towards that. If it's a private goal, then that's something for you. But I could maybe still go to a company and say, hey, you have like 4 people in your company that are struggling with some serious mental health stuff. We need to unlock a company match. For every $1 they put into their work-life balance, we'll match 2 or 5 or whatever, and let's help them. They still get privacy they need. They don't feel like they're going to be, have baggage and be on the next round of, layoffs or something. There's an element of privacy that I think is really, really important for people as well. And so that's kind of like why we position ourselves as like a third party that like sits between companies and people, because I just don't know if there's enough trust out there between people and companies for companies to be able to pull this off on their own, honestly.
No, I agree. This is so cool, man. If somebody's leaders out there listening to this, they're pumped by what you heard. They're touched by this message. They want to help their sellers. We're going into prepping for the new year right now. We're getting ready to go into December and people holidays. And what do they do? How do they learn about this? How do they connect with you to check out this software? Where do they go to look at it? Get a demo.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so they go to our website, Work Life with the Y, and that's intentional actually, but it's just worklife.io is our website. But they could just reach out and we can show. We really want to give everybody kind of a free work life profile, and then what happens is you bring it with you through your career. So when you go get the new job, it's like I can reach out to that company, like, hey, you just hired Sarah. Like I know everything about her. I know everything she's trying to accomplish for her personal happiness equation. Like, help me help you help her. And so they pay us to link up to her account. So they'll pay us the per employee per month fee to have access to, her public work life account and goals. And then, there's different things that the company can do that helps them. But really what I'd love to do though, is be able to have, think of like LinkedIn, Mary's GoFundMe, right? For your personal passions, goals, and dreams. It's just like, how cool would it be for me to be able to go to your work life account and say, Donald's writing a book. Like he's got like a $5,000 goal to self-publish this thing. And I'm like very grateful for you. I just kick over some of my work-life balance to help you out and just say, thank you. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm really excited about and have a vision for what work life can be. But there's definitely gonna be a kind of a social communal element to it. Right now we're just B2B selling. So right now, Donald, we're just like selling to companies directly, top down, finding people first founders and companies that just care about their people and saying, look, nobody cares about your company or your mission or your vision or your goals until you care about theirs. You have to care about theirs, And so that's going to unlock inspired work from someone when they know that you truly care about what they want to accomplish in work and life, and you're going to help them towards that, they're going to love you for it. And so that's kind of the intrinsic part that I want to tap into is get away from the coin operated kind of mentality and really like get to the heart of things for people. And then, it really just comes down to asking, like, why don't you bother to find out? So.
Well, I am inspired by this. I think it's very powerful. I think you're on a great mission, and I think this can touch and help many of our community members today. So we'll put all this stuff in our show notes so folks can get access to it. Listen, Travis, thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for inspiring us.
Yeah.
And helping us.
Thank you so much, Donald. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
That was the one and only Travis Ashby. That story there, man, about his mom just really touched me and punched me in the gut and just helped me to, in a good way. Like I feel like inspired by this to figure out what is that sacred money, so to speak. What are some of those things, those experiences that I'm trying to have, and the relationships that the people around me, and it's just like awesome, cool stuff. And I highly recommend you check out the tool. You can find more information about it in the show notes. And while you're in our show notes, be sure to check out our LinkedIn prospecting course. We're teaching sellers like you and your team how they can maximize LinkedIn. This is a cohort-based training program. We have our January cohort open, and we're filling that up. And the goal here is to help strengthen you and your team so you can utilize LinkedIn in a effective, thoughtful, natural way to start conversations, leverage opportunities, and help you to hit your work-life goals. You're going to love this stuff. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. Our sponsors do as well, and we have some amazing links down in the show notes for you for that. I want you to raise your level of thinking. I want you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline with quality opportunities. I want you to double your close rate, and I want you to go out, raise your level of thinking, do big things, make some money. Thanks so much. See you on the next one.